The latest that's unfolding as far as Nepal is concerned, where tension has gripped Kathmandu on Sunday as Nepal's former Home Minister Kamal Thapa was detained during a pro-monarchy protest that turned confrontational. Thapa and 6 others were detained after attempting to breach restricted zones near Kathmandu's city centre. It was a move taken in defiance of new protest bans imposed by the government. Citing fears of more chaos, authorities have confined demonstrations to just 3 zones, which is your Koteshwor, Balkhu and Sifal ground for the next 2 months. The unrest comes amidst demands to restore the centuries-old monarchy and declare Nepal a Hindu state, which it used to be till 2008. Protesters accuse the current government of corruption and failure. Memories of past bloodshed continue to haunt the city. In March, a protest turned violent, leaving 2 dead, dozens injured. As the former king remains silent, the streets roar louder. That's some of the visuals that we are playing out for you, isn't it? Will Nepal return to its royal past or stand firm as a republic in the wake of these growing protests is something that's very important for India, given the fact that India and Nepal share such close relations, interests, and remain so for centuries. I want to quickly get in Khushbu Oli, who's of the Central Committee member. She is of the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, one of the parties that is actually protesting at a time when there's been some sort of an indication from the government that you can keep protesting all you want, Khushbu, but as far as some of the many significant demands that you or the parties like yours are making are simply not going to happen. How do you respond to what the government has said so far in terms of these protests not resulting in Nepal once again becoming a Hindu kingdom?
Thank you so much. This is not governance, actually. What we see is a complete authoritarian suppression. And the government at the current development has restricted almost all public areas in the Kathmandu for just demonstration, except for 3 locations, especially targeting the nationalist protesters or the RPP supporters and leadership. So what we think is peaceful protest is not a crime. It is a fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution of Nepal. And every citizen will have the freedom of opinion and expression to assemble freely, peacefully, without arms. And they have restricted this. And we do not understand because, Article 17 of the Constitution of Nepal clearly guarantees that. And the government is arresting political leaders and blocking peaceful assemblies. So if the ruling parties are confident in their legitimacy, they should welcome a public dialogue with the party that is leading this movement and not fear it. Like shutting down streets, arresting voices, and looking down the capital shows a deep insecurity in the system itself. So it is looking very suppressive and authoritarian for us.
I want to understand from you, the demands are essentially returned to the monarchy days, isn't it? But it's not so simple because Nepal had an entire transition. It was people of Nepal who asked for the transition. How do you turn back and turn back the clock and go back in time? And it may just be this many set of people who may want it, not the entire Nepalese set of people.
Actually, it's not at all going back because the current moment has gained momentum because the people of Nepal have been increasingly dissatisfied as the political parties took over power after 2008 and have repeatedly failed to deliver on their promises of better governance, stability, and economic process. So instead of bringing reforms and improvement, they pledged the things that they had pledged. Successive governments have been plagued by corruption, inefficiency, and internal power struggles. So it's not going back, but at this critical juncture, what RPP thinks is that they have to address our ongoing political and economical situations, troubles, and the crisis. So the party calls for a fresh political agreement that includes all stakeholders, including the former king, and arguing and also the political parties. And the party advocates for a constitutional monarch. We do not want Hindu kingdom where the king is the ruler. We want a ceremonial monarch where the king would be serving as a unifying national figure while preserving democracy and to ensure political stability. And RPP insists on having a constitutional monarch.
Political stability is important, and I think that's something I want to tell our viewers as well. In Nepal, since 2015, there have been 14 different government formations in some form or the other. 14, over a dozen government formations in the last 10 years. So political instability is a great cause of concern. And that, of course, is why governance and corruption really are primary reasons of dissatisfaction for people of Nepal. But I want to understand from you, Khushbu, how do you or how does your party envisage that transition? Because if it's politically unstable, then there are politically vested interests, isn't it? And it's not so simple what the demands are.
Yes, the demands are not so yet simple, because it's not just about having a Hindu state or a Hindu kingdom. You know, we are committed and we are advocating mainly for agendas like where we want to end the systematic corruption that has paralyzed the level of governance in Nepal. We are advocating for reversing the economic collapse that is pushing the country into the poverty. We are prioritizing quality education that equips youth with real world skills. You know, there is a major problem at this point of time where there's a youth exodus. By creating career pathways and degree, we have to tackle that, because we want the youths to stay within Nepal with opportunities in Nepal. Like, you know, we need to curb the capital flights that's draining our nation's future. There's a major brain drain happening. So we want to revive the agriculture sector. We want to revive the tourism sector, where it's not just where religion Hindu state can become a major factor, because we want to promote religious tourism in Nepal. So we want to ensure governance reform. Along with having a constitutional king, we need a complete governance reform, accountability, and, you know, service delivery at the grassroots. Because we need an educated nation, we need a nation of opportunities, we need a self-reliant economy. Because aside of the primary agendas, these are fundamental issues that we need to address at this point of time.
And all this happening at a time when China's interests in Nepal continue to grow. In fact, there's an invitation that visit all of this coinciding with the protests that are taking place right now. People of Nepal are on the streets because at the end of the day, as I said, viewers, political instability is a major concern in Nepal. 14 government formations in some form or the other in the last 10 odd years. People feel they deserve better, and which is why the youth of Nepal feel that they deserve better. As I said, no easy answers. What will be the political solution to this? No one knows. As of course, right now Nepal is a republic, and many feel it should not go back to being a monarchy. All right.